So we made a bit of a start, so we've pulled everything off as you can see. We've cut everything out the back, just made it hard and fast, we're not going to use it. Some of the bolts to see, so we just cut the leaves as you can see, just cut everything out. The shocks, everything. So about to lift the chassis off now and have that diff fall out the bottom, and hopefully it doesn't flip off the end of the hoist. What we've got to do next is we've got to pull this body part here off, and then we can sort the front suspension out and sort of make a plan for that. As you can see, I've done a quick little paint strip there, just a quick test to see what it's going to turn up like, and it's going to be sweet. Bonus of having to paint this one off. So here goes the front body panel off, and as you can see, it's a pretty simple setup in the front. We've got our two shocks, so all I'm going to do is replace them with some air shocks, and that's how we're going to lower that. And as you can see on the front, probably have to make new knuckles because this is also the wrong stud pattern as well. So we'll have to make new hubs, new knuckles, and if we need to add camber, literally we cut that, tilt it over, but we can't go too low in the front due to, you can see all this main frame here, and yeah, basically this is going to go because that's what held the roof. As you can see, it's rusty as, so that'll be in the bin, and possibly if we have to, we can put a bit of a notch into there. It's a bonus not building something legal, eh? Just go thug life on it and do whatever you want. That's going to be pretty handy. So yeah, basic setup, check this out. Look at the steering rack. Pretty cool setup, eh? So it just pivots off that one out there, goes, retracts, goes back. Wasn't worth recording this, it was just a nuts and bolts job, but basically we pulled the LSD unit out of the RX-8 housing, and we're just going to pull the crown wheel off. So here we have the LSD unit all stripped down now, so this is my thoughts on how we're going to make it work. As I said, I've never seen this done before, so I'm just logically thinking through this process. So let's start with how we're going to drive this. So we're going to have a sprocket onto the motor, and we're going to make this a chain drive obviously. So all we need to do in theory is make up a sprocket that will bolt to these bolt holes here, that will slide on there. So there's how we're going to drive it. So next thing we need to do is how we're going to mount this into the cart. So my theory is I'm going to get some hanger bearings that will sit on here, both sides. So that side there, then we can weld some arms off it and connect it to the chassis that way. So that way there, we've now determined how we're going to mount it. So we'll either use hanger bearings or some flange bearings. So now we know how we're going to drive the diff. We know how we're going to mount the diff into the chassis. So the next thing is we need to get the power from the diff out to the wheels, and this is where these come in. So these are the factory stub shafts, and as you see they slide in the end there. They've got a circlip as well, so that's how they lock in there. So my theory behind it all, how we're going to transfer power from here to the hub on the wheels, rear wheels. I'm going to cut these cups off over here, so therefore we're left with a bare shaft, and once that's done I'll either machine up some axles, like a hollow tube one that will slide over there, and we can fix it to the stub shaft here, or we can weld on some little flanges, then we can have flanged axles. So I haven't got that far yet, so I'm going to cut them off, put it into the cart, see how it's all going to play out, and see which way we're going to go with it. So in theory it should work. Perfectionally will it work? Not too sure. We'll soon cross that path. So we're now decided mechanically how we're going to make this little LSD unit work. The last thing we haven't crossed off is the lubrication side. So my thoughts on how we're going to achieve that is, I'm simply thinking from an engineering perspective, just packing this out with grease. Simple as that. Like, it's not overcomplicating it, having like a drip feed oil system, or I was thinking of a system like that, but that way there we can machine up like a cylinder that goes over here with an O-ring groove on the bottom, so it'll seal off on the bottom there, therefore it won't spew any grease out. And also I might just machine this bit here flat in the lathe, so it has another sealed surface, so when it comes down yet again another O-ring, and that way there it contains all the grease. And maybe just have a grease nipple on the outside of like the cylinder, and basically that should be it. That should be the whole mounting of this diff. Basically, sorry, not the mounting, the whole workings of this diff. As I say, in theory, whether it works or not is a different story, but I'm super keen to give it a go regardless. Here we have the basic parts now. As you can see, we've cut the cups off. So there's a little stub shafts that are going to go in there. We're going to put some tube on the outside that will slip over there out to a hub, and we're going to connect we're going to hang this, we're going to mount it, with the hanger bearings on each end. That's it. A bearing heater, and plus it's only for the gold cart, so it's not too critical. I'm going to take a bit of a cut off this face here and then slide the bearing over. Never machined anything on a diff before, and I can't believe the tolerances on it. So between this bearing face here and this one here was running 0.7 out of true. So what I did was machine one, and then I machined this face here because that's where the sprocket's going to go, and also that one there. So everything's going to run nice and true now. So basically what we're going to do now is set up these hanger bearings, put the bearings in, press them on, and that's basically the center done. So what we're up to now, we've got to turn down the stub axle size for the inside diameter of our Schedule 40 tube we got. I'm trying to utilise what we have locally available instead of going all out and getting custom billet axles and all that type of stuff done. End of the day, it's only a golf cart, it ain't built for speed. Probably do some pretty cool burnouts, but as I say, for what we're doing, it's going to be good. And if it breaks, we just upgrade it, simple. I just finished pressing the stub axles in, good to go. It's starting to look like something now, so whoever would have thought you'd ever see a car LSD in a golf cart, let alone an RX-8 one, let alone powered by a vrod motor that has a turbo on top. What a pretty out of a combo, eh? That's what it's all about, being different. So as you can see, we've machined all these faces here up, so everything's running true and parallel to one another, where the bearing sits there, as well as where the crown wheel was, which is now going to be our sprocket, and we'll machine that face there. So when we make an aluminium housing to hold all the grease we're going to have to lubricate inside there, because obviously there'll be no oil, going to make an aluminium housing that will slide over, and it'll be sealed off by an O-ring, so that's why I thought I'd better machine that face there so we have a nice sealing face. As for the axle tubes, you've seen we press in the stub axles, so what I need to do now to complete the axle is simply just get some material so we can machine up some hubs, and that'll be the axle diff side of things sort of done. What we've done now, we've measured up and we've got the sprockets getting made up, so I won't go too much into detail on this video. I'll wait till they come back and I'll explain to you why we got to those like tooth measurements and whatnot, and yes, that all makes sense once they're actually on the little golf cart. But nonetheless, we're starting to get somewhere now, so I think what we're going to do next is move these chassis rails in. So what we're up to now, we've got to move the chassis rails in. I didn't really want to do that because I was trying to make it as simple as we can, but we've got to cut the chassis rails off basically back down there, pull them in. Reason being is the wheels, when the body comes down, that body there, when it comes down, it's actually sitting just on the wheel, like it's only just hitting it, so when it goes on, it's flaring it out, and I don't want to crack the paint or anything silly later on down the track. As I say, I still need this to be relatively practical because we're going to use it, not like my little RX-8 that can just sit there looking good. We actually need to use this and off-road, so try to get as much clearance as we can. And another reason why I want to bring this chassis rail in, so we can fit like a little 13-inch moji on here, because say if we take it to a union, we can swap the wheels out, have mojis, have different vibes, we can put some titans on it, we can run some adapters. So we'll bring this chassis rail in a few inches this way, and therefore there we'll have unlimited options, and we better bring the wheel in enough that it will tuck inside the body, and it will actually be a lot lower too, because as I said, it was just sitting on the body, so now to say once it's shifted and the body's over here, it'll be able to slide right over until it hits the top of this. So before it was just hitting here, the tire was just sitting on this lip, so now we've gained nearly another inch lower, so should all work out. So we're going to